everyone. Welcome to our very first monthly Job Seeker Tips webinar. Hopefully you have seen us around at different job fairs and different careers fairs. So this won't be the first time that you're seeing my face, but this is a wonderful opportunity that we're going to do every month where we aim to give you insight and knowledge and direction to start your career. Just as a reminder, this is a webinar, so although I can't see your faces, I do encourage you to communicate with me in the chat box and ask us questions. We'll get through as many questions as we can. This session is to provide you with as much insight as you need to set yourself up for success when you're job hunting. So please do be inquisitive, please do participate. This is not going to be a session where I talk at you for an entire hour with no breaks. There are going to be some interactive questions in there, so please do get involved. I love to hear about your personal journeys, so please do. As you know, we're a technology company that is helping job seekers discover and apply for jobs that they'd be great at. A little bit about me is I am a self-proclaimed certified squiggly career girl, and this is actually one of the reasons why I love running these type of sessions and webinars. It's something that I've done a lot throughout my career, but my career has not been the kind of straight line that I guess most people would expect. I actually started my career in nursing. So I got my nursing degree back in 2015, but pivoted not long after into initiatives and social impact. And that's basically where most of my career was. I worked in the education space and the youth program space for a very, very long time. As you can see, I was even a teacher briefly in Korea for, well, I say briefly, about 3 years. And when I came back from Korea, I decided to pivot to a career in tech for good. So tech for social impact and change. And through that personal experience, I learned a lot about transferable skills and navigating through different career paths that have different structures, but using the skills that you have as an asset. And we'll talk about that a lot more throughout today. That's actually going to be the focus of the session. So what are we going to cover today together? We are going to, I can hear quite a few people coming in. So maybe I'll pause here. Fasin, is that quite a few?
Yeah, I've added them all into the meeting.
Perfect. Welcome everyone. I'm not sure what you've heard. We've not covered anything just yet. I've just gone on about myself a little bit, so you haven't missed much. But today what we're going to be covering is setting your career goals, how you develop your skill set and highlight your skill set. This is important. The working world is continually evolving. It's under a wide range of pressures, whether that's changing demographics, new technologies, global challenges. So the ability to effectively plan and navigate career options is becoming increasingly important for working age adults. So across these 3 sections, we are going to talk about how you can avoid harmful effects of these pressures by equipping yourself with a skills-based career plan that you can trace into possible employment paths, and identify skill upgrades that you need to make different paths viable to you. So this is about unlocking opportunity. Let's start at the very, very beginning. I want to take us really basic and build up from there. So just starting and thinking about setting your career goals, can everyone let me know in the chat if you've had a think about what you want to be doing in the next 5 years' time? It could be a yes, it could be a no. If it's a yes, let us know maybe what that 5-year plan is. So have you thought about what you want to be doing in 5 years' time? Let us know in the chat. Yes, okay, that's good. That's really, really good. Oh, okay, another yes. Everybody in here has thought about what they want to be doing in 5 years' time. That is super cool to hear. To be honest, it's not, okay, we've got another yes in the chat. Self-employment, Right. We've got some AWS solutions architect with a focus, very specific things coming through, some a bit more broad. This is really, really good to hear. This is really, really good to hear. It's a high level view of what you want to be doing in 5 years. Pen tester freelancer. That is interesting. Um, that's really good. Now, a lot of the time, people do have an idea of what they want to achieve in the next 5 years or 3 years, but who has had to think about this on a more granular level? So, what about what you want to achieve by the end of this week? And you can't say surviving, it's not an achievement. So, have you thought about what you want to achieve by the end of this week? Weekly tasks for projects. I love that. Some of this stuff that we're going to cover today might be quite familiar to you. Hopefully, we can kind of broaden that for you. Wonderful, Matt. Surviving is definitely an achievement. Okay. Is that what you have wanted to achieve this week? Was that your goal? I guess we all have weeks like that. My goal is to just survive this week. Yeah, I've had weeks like that. Life of minimum of 3 jobs. That's a really good one as well. Today, we're going to talk about what you can do before you get to that stage. So, thinking about what types of jobs you should be applying for and what kind of skills you need for those jobs. So, it's good to hear that you have that target to be able to secure my permanent contract job by the end of this week. That's really good to hear. I do hope that's an achievable task for you. Hopefully, interviews and everything have been going well. And some of the stuff we'll talk about today should also help you with interviewing and positioning yourself as the best one for the job. So I'm definitely looking forward to going through that. Lovely. Thank you all for sharing. I realize I also didn't share. I can't lie, I do not have a 5-year plan, but I will tell you why. I will definitely tell you why. So this is often, a lot of people often think they have to plan a year or two in advance, and I completely understand that. We're going to cover why that might not be the best time frame later on. But the main thing that we're going to get you to start doing is identifying your skill set. So this is step one of building a skills-based career. It is also, to be 100% transparent, the biggest and most time-consuming part. But it does make everything a lot easier. Understanding your skill set is an exercise in self-awareness and reflection. But some of you might be thinking, what is a skill set? So a skill set is a collection of abilities, experiences, personal attributes that you've developed throughout your life. So one of the things I often hear is that skill sets are developed in the workplace, and that's a big misconception. Skills can be developed throughout your life. It can come from your experience in the home, in your childhood, volunteering programs, hobbies, and of course the workplace and school and education. For example, I always say in my interviews that I first really honed my negotiation skills because I was the eldest of 7. So I spent my life bargaining for the last piece of chicken. It is literally that, your skill sets come from your childhood all the way through to all the experiences that you have. You collect skills as you go along life, but we need to differentiate between the different types of skills. So we have what we call transferable skills. You might have heard these referred to as soft skills, and we also have technical or hard skills. Now, transferable skills are the skills you pick up through life experiences. So, like I just mentioned, I have a lot of siblings. I'm also the eldest. So, that can be things like teamwork, it can be things like problem solving. Other things include like time management or communication. Technical skills are skills that are necessary for specific jobs and are gained through work, learning, training. So, this is things like coding, accounting, speaking another language, something like that. So if we look at this list of different skills we have, I haven't identified which skills each column belong to, but bearing in mind, so transferable skills are things that you pick up through your life, whereas technical skills are ones that you pick up through your work or vocation or training. So if we look at problem solving, teamwork, time management, and communication on the left, let us know in the chat if you think this is a list of transferable skills or if you think this is a list of technical skills. So what do we think? Problem solving, teamwork, time management, and communication. Would that be a transferable skill or a technical skill? I do see people typing. Wonderful. Yep. Everyone's nailed it on the head. Transferable skills. So yes, exactly. Those are skills that you pick up throughout your life. They don't have to necessarily be from work, but that means that coding, things like accounting, languages, architectural design, those are your technical skills. So understanding the difference between the two types of skills and identifying how you want to improve them is going to help you build a strong understanding of the value that you uniquely bring to an organization. And this is what helps you land interviews. This is what helps you go from accounting to coding or nursing to tech. Oh, I saw someone say I feel like it can be both. Sometimes transferable skills can also be learned in the workplace. The key difference is the exclusiveness. So, transferable skills are not exclusively learned through vocation, training, education. They can be learned from a number of different places, from your childhood home to your hobby. If you have a hobby that requires meticulous planning, then that's a skill, that's a transferable skill. Technical skills are often learned in the workplace. Transferable skills can lend themselves to a number of different industries, whereas technical skills also tend to lend towards a specific industry. So coding is tech, accounting is finance, architectural design is architect. So hopefully that clarifies it for you. Great point though. So the next step, once you've identified what your skills are, is to then use this to set your career goals. So understanding the skill set you currently have, the skill sets that you need to develop, and then aligning them with your goals. It's good to have an ultimate destination, so your North Star, but remember that focusing too far ahead will make it more difficult to stay motivated. So this is why, if you remember at the start of the session, I asked everyone if they had a 5-year plan versus if they have a weekly plan. It was so fortuitous that everyone in the room did say they had a 5-year plan, but they also said they had a weekly plan, which is great. But I do recommend looking 2 to 3 years ahead. We've seen with COVID and loads of different things that it can be really hard to predict what's going to happen in 5 years. 2 to 3 years keeps you motivated. It also keeps you current. So once you've written down those goals, you need to put them somewhere ideally that you can see every day, because this is going to be, like I said earlier, your North Star. And it also needs to be somewhere where you can read them regularly to remind yourself of your direction, your purpose. This is going to really keep you going, especially because in this job market, there are a lot of challenges along the way. And so having that North Star in mind is going to keep you really motivated when you face, challenges, setbacks, rejection, all of those things. So how can you do this? So this step is very often missed in the process of career planning, but it is really important. I mentioned just the slide before that it's important to write down your goals and have them somewhere that you can see them every day and that they're super accessible and easy to read and refresh. This is to keep you focused, but also to determine individual steps and what you need to do to reach them. You can create an opportunity to experience mini achievements regularly. So things like a checklist. All of these things are really great for motivation. You'll be constantly reminded that you are making progress towards your ultimate career goal, and it will keep you centered. When you're setting out your action plan, remember to be realistic. As I always say, no one expects you to sit down at a piano and be able to just play Beethoven. You've got to be patient with the steps needed to get you to your ultimate goal. This is no different. Career planning is no different. This is about sustainability. So setting yourself up for success, staying focused and motivated, having a strong foundation. Clue want to improve your job seeker experience and help facilitate this. So we do actually have a career planner, which you will see here, for anyone who attends this session. So it's a nice structure. And as you can see, it lays out, your 1 to 3 year goals. It gets you to reflect on what job you're doing, what skills you need for that job, the skills you already have, and the skills that you might want to develop. It also has some examples of ways you can help yourself in the job searching process. So this is for free for all of the people who attended today. So we'll send you the information about how you can access that at the end. So now you have your career plan, you know what your skills are, you know where your skill gaps are, and you have your career plan in mind. How do you keep yourself accountable? Well, career planning is an ongoing iterative process. As I said earlier, it's just not something that you do now and then revisit in 5 years' time or revisit in 3 years' time. So you've got to build in reminders to keep yourself on track. So scheduling regular time slots every few months to review your action plan and progress. Your end destination may remain quite similar over the long term, but the action plan you set for yourself along the way could change significantly. So making sure that you set time frames next to your action plan will make sure that it remains relevant. And for the last point, always share your goals and activity plans with your coaches or mentors. If you don't have a coach or a mentor, share them with a friend or a parent. This adds a whole different layer of accountability that will keep you on track in those moments where you need extra support. I am not kidding. I have a group chat. It is a women in business group chat. We all work in different industries, but when anyone is doing their action planning, they're going up for a review, they're going up for a new job, we all come together and we review our action plans, and it keeps you so accountable in a nice way. It's quite nice. You can do it over coffee, potluck, WhatsApp group, but also just having people going through similar processes to you, or maybe they're not, but they're in a different situation. They can give you, impart knowledge, keep you accountable, give you motivation, give you tips and support. So that is a tip I would definitely recommend. So you've done the groundwork. We've talked about how you look at the skills you have, look at the technical and transferable, develop a plan based off of your skills. So what skills do you have? What skills do you need for the dream role that you're going after? And what skills do you need to develop? So how do you then develop those skills that will get you into the career that you want? There are a number of ways to do this. I could talk about this forever, but when it comes to development, you can't always guarantee that this is going to come in your current job. So some of you may have a job and are looking for a new job, and some of you might not have one. What you need to do is think outside of the box and remember that there are many different ways to grow and gain skills. So some of the things you can do, courses and online learning. For example, whenever I attend a webinar like this, I do make a note of it, and I do mention it in interviews. I do mention it in developmental meetings with my manager. Just going out there and seeking new opportunities to learn things, to learn something that's going to impart value on your job seeking journey is always a good thing to do. And a lot of them are free. We have these every month, but you can also look on LinkedIn and places like Eventbrite for free workshops. Volunteering is also an amazing way to gain skills, but it's also a great way to meet new people. And that leads me into some of our other points: mentoring and networking. So expanding your network, going to networking events, meeting new people. I am always at a networking event. Sometimes I literally just go on LinkedIn or Eventbrite and I'll search for like a report launch. There's always a report launch going on, and I'll go and I'll just look at, talk to people in the room, swap business cards. You just never know who can unlock an opportunity for you. And this is also how I acquired my mentor. So I met my mentor at a report launch, which was about disabled founders and lack of funding. And we just started talking, and the energy, we just liked each other's energy. We were working in the same field, but he's about 7 years ahead in his career. Getting a mentor and just saying, hey, would you be happy for me to be able to ask you questions and to sit down with me once a month so we can just talk about some of this stuff or anything that I'm struggling with, is always a great thing to do. Work secondments as well. These are not as popular, but definitely a great way to gain some skills in the short term. And reading is another one that I cannot stress enough. Sign up to every free newsletter you can. There is Flipped, there is Apple News, there is Medium. Let them know what kind of things you're interested in. This doesn't just have to be about learning how to do something technical. I read a lot so that I can keep up to date on what policy affects my industry, what some of our competitors are doing, technical development, reading constantly as a way of staying current in my industry. I do not have the benefit of a computer science degree, so being in the technical field, I need to stay current and read as much as I can. Um, If you're unsure of which skills you need for different, intervals, you can also reach out to recruiters or professionals in your desired sector, or someone doing the role, and ask them for advice. So when I wanted to become a customer success manager in the technical field, I literally went on LinkedIn, typed in senior customer success manager, and looked for someone who had a mutual connection and said, hi, I know that you're an acquaintance of X person. Would you be happy to talk to me? I'm trying a career change and I don't know anyone else in this field. We went for a dinner and I came away from that dinner with a full action plan. And about 6 months later, I landed my first tech role. So network, put yourself out there, don't be shy. There are people out there who will be so happy to help you, because that also gives them a skill that they can talk about. So it is mutually beneficial. And now we're going to talk to you about how you can boast your skills. This is my favorite section. When I first decided I wanted to change careers, one of the things I had to get over was being shy about talking about why I'm great. It does not serve you well to be super humble when you're trying to get a new job. The working world that we're operating in right now is so noisy and so competitive. And I can say this from experience. When COVID hit, I did a recruitment job just because I'd lost my previous job. And you see people all the time who are just as good as each other. They've got the same kind of qualifications, they've been to the same type of universities, they even say the same things, because you can tell who's also Googled how to answer certain interview questions. And so one of the things that I always tell people is try to stand out from the crowd. It is super challenging to sit down and think about a personal brand, but this is the one thing I would recommend everyone doing, is brainstorming, what do I want my personal brand to be? How do I want to get noticed and remembered by managers, peers, and customers? For me, my personal brand is my EQ. I am emotional, I'm a people person, I'm very empathetic. There are so many other skills that I have, but when I leave an interview, I want people to always be like, she's really personable, she remembered my kid's birthday, that sort of thing. Easy ways to stand out in the crowd. First of all, update your CVs. Definitely update your CVs. Make sure that they contain a transferable and technical skills profile alongside any experience you have. So at the top of the CV, I've got a skills matrix that lists my top 10 prominent skills. And then underneath that, I have my work history. We obviously want to keep the work history there, but what's really good is being able to look at a CV and say, these are the skills this person has. So recommend doing that. Update your LinkedIn as well. I'm so guilty of this one. When I started at Clu'd, my manager was like, you need to update your LinkedIn. It's looking so dusty. And I did a bit of a revamp. So for example, I took my job title out of my LinkedIn profile header. People can already see that on the profile, and I replaced it with something that is a bit more gripping. So making the working world work for everyone, for example, or it could be something like entrepreneurial and adaptable student with a passion for solving problems in asset management, something that sums up you, like a tagline. Do that today. Change those LinkedIn strap lines to remove your job title, please. Also, sharing content is a really good way to get yourself out there. When I was younger, I used to run a blog, and it got the attention of a charity who then decided they were going to fly me out to do a 6-month internship for no reason other than the blog. It's a really, really great way to, one, share your opinions, because people do want to know what you have to say, but also you really do stick in people's minds when you create content, whether that's, on LinkedIn, or you set up a blog, or you're on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. Creating and sharing content is a great way to get out there. And I mentioned this earlier, but networking and attending events constantly is also a great way to get yourself in front of employers, but also you don't know who's going to be in the room. There might be someone there who can help you as a mentor. There might be someone there who knows someone in the industry that you want to be in. And so just creating opportunities to meet people is always a good way, and actively volunteering for causes that are close to your heart, and updating your profile to demonstrate your support, and all those things are a really great way to just stick out. You can do this exercise in Clu'd. We do have the CV uploader and extractor, so that's also a great way to just upload your CV and have it pull out your interests, your work history, your skills profile, which will all become visible to employers in our system. But definitely use those other channels as well. Okay, so we are coming towards the end of this session. We've kind of whizzed through a little bit, but hopefully you've got some ideas floating around about your current skill set, what your current skill set is, how you can go about developing it to get ahead in your career, and how you can use this information to get jobs. When you start applying to jobs, please think about how best to market your skill set in the industry that you're targeting. I know what you're thinking. For many people, the concept of talking about yourself does not sit well, and that's totally fine. But in reality, for every day, every month, every year that goes by, with you believing that your hard work and talent will shine through, there are countless more people heavily investing in ensuring that they're seen, and that their network knows what their skill set is. And that should be the first point of call when a new opportunity comes along. So I'm going to close out the session there, or my part of the session there.